sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It is a relief to put down your heavy cases and take off your hat for a moment. You fan your face. It's been a long summer, and curiously though, it has been an empty summer. You look across the street at the grubby butcher's shop, grocers with its faded awning, and the shabby tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy down south as a child, among Providence's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yet, everyone you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham, not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you are indeed doing the right thing. The answer's here, and none of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You are alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it will be a new life and a brave one. A small gray motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on, pick up your cases. Two young men with sullen expressions step down from the coach. One looks you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he's rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it one final twist and kind of looks you up and down as he reaches for his matchbox. He's a thin man, in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem, although his eyes are quite sharp in the dark sockets. Where to?
Anywhere but here.
So your ticket then?
Yeah.
Well, Arkham, is it? It's quite a journey from here. Well, he says, this is a ticket for Ossipee. From there, you'll connect to Rochester and Portsmouth, before the coastal line to Newburyport, and finally, Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least some of the way. Otherwise, you're going to be on here for a long time before you can get to somewhere decent.
I got time.
Driver scratches the matches and lights his cigarette. The end flares as it takes a nice long pull. Luggage rack's up there. So as you grab your cases, the driver smokes as he watches you drag your cases to the back of the motor coach. The rack is quite high, and you being below normal height person, you look at the rack with dubious
intent.
Yeah, like.
Hey, can I get a hand here?
So look at your, so if your size is, what's your size?
40.
Okay, so you struggle for a few seconds before the driver comes up beside you and lends a hand. still puffing on his cigarette. Heavy bags aim for a small one, he remarks. You judge it to be best. You judge it best to respond with a simple thank you.
Thanks, old timer.
No problem. See, it's something with the voices and stuff like that. And sometimes, like, I'm just not prepared for it. Driver flicks his cigarette into the gutter and steps into the motor coach. The engine coughs into life. You board, grateful that you will be the only passenger for the initial part of your trip at least. With mixed emotions, you watch from the window as the tired avenues of your old home slip behind you, receding into the distance. For a few minutes, you can still see a church spire over the brow of a low hill. Then, the road dips, and it, too, is gone. Arkham's your new home. You'll travel there and make a new start. And so the coach putters through the countryside. At first, the interior is stifling, and your stomach kind of lurches with every bend in the road. However, the driver notices and opens his window, and by switching your seats, you find a spot where the breeze hits your face just right. And you relax into the journey, observing the quaint little hamlets that the coach serves. A heavy-set woman boards at the one settlement and gives you a polite nod, and she gets off at the next one. The road rises a little, passing cornfields and orchards. The leaves are turning, and the trees are alive with glorious reds and golds. You have just begun to doze off when the driver takes a tight bend at high speed.
Ah, damn it!
A desperate yell awakens you. Ah! You feel yourself slide from the seat as the driver spins the wheel and the motor coach plunges off the road. You grab hold of the seat in front just in time to prevent a painful fall. The coach stops with a thump. Now you see what has happened. A Fordson tractor has stopped in the road and your driver has had to swerve to avoid his steel obstacle. He leaps from his seat into the road, unleashing a string of curses at the farmer. You take a moment to catch your breath. Perhaps you should offer assistance? But the driver has already returned. He backs the coach up a little and threads it around the tractor, glaring at the farmer. You resume your journey. The driver takes the curves with more caution than before. He glances over his shoulder at you a couple of times. Oh, sorry about before, sir. That fella was dumber than a hog. I'm Silas. What's your name?
Nevada Jones.
Ah. Well, the accident was at least as much Silas's fault as the farmer's. But it doesn't seem shrewd to antagonize the man while he is driving you through the middle of the countryside. The coach turns onto a narrow road, which weaves uphill through the woodland. Silas becomes chatty. I know. When we looked at the ticket, it said you're going to Arkham, eh? Can't say as I ever heard of the place. Went to Boston once. Didn't like it. Too much hustle and bustle, you know. Got family there?
No.
Special someone waiting, maybe? Aye.
No.
Well, it must be a job then.
Yes.
What type of work were you thinking of getting into?
Oh, just this and that. Private investigator.
Well, now. Off to solve some crimes, eh?
If luck will have it.
You skirt around the details of the professions in your usual way, mentioning only that you have helped the police to clear up various problems in the past. Your heart pounds a little faster as you think of the post you've secured at the Blackwood Detective Agency. You've had enough of investigation with Marshall. You've had enough of investigating marital infidelity and bank clerks on the take. It sounds like the Blackwood Agency is just the opportunity you need to cut your teeth on some real villainy. Silas narrows his eyes, but he says nothing. Your credit rating is 20. By the way, if you want to mark that on your sheet, it's not going to be on there. Your credit rating, right here. Oh, it does say. Okay, so you can use that. That's fine.
Credit rating is 40.
Yeah, that's fine. You can use that. When you make a character like full on,
I have to roll for it.
there'll be like a couple of stats that you'll like roll, and they'll determine together what your credit rating will be. So you realize that Silas hasn't made any stops since the incident with the tractor. The motor coach winds its way uphill. However, your thoughts are interrupted as the road crests a ridge, and you are treated to a magnificent view of the vista below. A creek snakes through the valley, breaking the rich autumn palette of the tree line. In the distance, the white mountains rise into a hazy cloud. There's no settlement, not even a cabin, as far as the eye can see. Birds drift through the treetops, and you can just make out what might be 2, maybe 3 white-tailed deer lingering by the wall. Perhaps you're making a mistake by moving to the city. Could you survive on your own in this lush, untamed wilderness? The motor coach rattles on through the hills, and Silas lapses into silence. Light darkens behind you, pink tinting the clouds as the sun descends. Finally, a welcome sight comes into view. A settlement on the crest of a hill. This doesn't look like the pictures you've seen in Ossipee. But perhaps you can persuade Silas to stop while you stretch your legs. Minutes later, a harsh stuttering from the engine interrupts your reverie. Silas frowns and rattles the gear stick. The motor coach falters in its ascent. He utters a curse you don't recognize and grinds his teeth, struggling at the wheel. You seem to inch up the hill until you reach the first buildings, low dwellings constructed from a rough red stone. Silas wrestles the coach into a small bay off the road. He scrambles from a seat and makes for the engine compartment. So what's your drive auto or your psychology? They're down here. They're all of your skills will be down here. So psychology is going to be
Drive auto is 20.
okay.
Psychology is 40.
Okay, so you'll probably want to roll this one because that's the higher skill. So you want to roll a percentage of 40 or under.
I got a 60.
And that was the psychology one. Okay. Yeah, you would have. That would have been a fail regardless. If you fail your roll, go to black. Silas opens the engine compartment and sticks his head inside. Hot metal pops and sizzles. He pokes at various components, then withdraws and wipes his brow, smearing with dark grease. Oh, I ain't sure what's wrong. Might be the oil pressure. Might be something knocking around off kilter when we took that spill. Can't do much until the engine cools, neither. And with the light failing, I reckon we will be here through the night. Kind of wipes his hand on a rag and then on his shirt at the same time. Big old smear, five-fingered smear down the shirt. The shadows fall from your surroundings are already long, and the air is getting cold. It's like daylight's already, the sun's already going down, and this is in the mountains. You feel fairly stiff from the journey, and a night in the rickety coach doesn't sound all that appealing. Silas sees your dismay, and he kind of gestures off to the low buildings, and he says, "This is Ember. Miles from any place. I only come through here twice a week, but the folks here are good people. Now that I think about it, Miss Ledbetter keeps a spare room. She'll look after you. Up that alley, turn right, first house on the left." He scratches his cheek, looks again into the engine compartment, spits on the ground. "Meet me back here at about 8 in the morning, and we'll see how we stand." So this is your first opportunity to be presented with some choices. So, if you would like, sir, you can go and see Miss Ledbetter about accommodations, or you can ask Silas where he will be spending the night, or you can challenge Silas about the breakdown. What would you like to do, sir?
Challenge him about the breakdown.
Alrighty then.
I mean, it does seem plausible, but at the same time, it seems kind of fishy.
So you confront Silas with your suspicions. Brow darkens and shows a mouth full of twisted teeth. "Ain't that just like you city types? Thinking the worst of a man after he's gone out of his way to attend to your comforts." He stalks around to the back of the coach and hauls your bags from the rack, dumping them on the ground at your feet. "Take them! Otherwise, I guess you'll be accusing me of thievery in the morning." He marches off in the darkness, rage. That could have gone better.
I know what happened.
You drag your cases between the sullen buildings. You feel surprisingly weary, considering that you've spent all day sitting down. Silas's directions, such as they were, lead you to a modest dwelling with a slate roof. A nameplate reads Ledbetter, and underneath a sign in neat copperplate reads Lodging Room. The lane around you is rather gloomy, but a lamp flickers in the window. A breeze chills the back of your neck and face. You're not about to begin your new life by sleeping in the street. So, knock on the door. Not in this one. After a moment, you hear padded footsteps inside the house. A bolt is drawn back and the wooden door swings open. A figure with loose curls and a rough-looking house dress peers at you. Her gaze takes in your traveling suit and your cases, your weird-looking hat. It's a rather country spot. Maybe they haven't seen these quite in a long time, or like maybe this fashion yet. Her voice has a slight Irish lilt. Note to the audience, I'm not too keen on accents, and I don't wish to offend anybody just to put on an accent. So I'll just give you maybe a taste. Hello, dearie. Should I take it that you're looking for a room for the night? You inquire as to her rates, surprising a grimace. As far as you've seen, the village does not offer you many alternatives. Oh, you'll find them very reasonable, she says, and she notes that you do look tired. I'm May. Come inside and we'll take over a cup of tea, or we'll talk over a cup of tea, excuse me. The Ledbetter household feels rather cramped, with a low ceiling and simple fittings, but it is well kept and swept, and a cheerful fire crackles in the grate. The aroma of the tea is soothing, and the cup warms your fingers. So, I assume you come to Emberhead for the festival? She asks.
Just passing through.
Would you like to explain to her what happened with Silas, or would you like to ask her about this festival that she apparently thinks you're coming to?
Explain about Silas.
May shakes her head, and you glimpse a moment of deep-seated anger in her green eyes. He always drives too fast. Thinks the road is made for him and him alone. He hit a mare some years back, and that was a terrible thing. Blood everywhere. You should have seen the state of the coach. You should be surprised at the damage that was done. It was like 3 months before the vehicle was back up again. As I recall, you lost a fair bit of wages for that. She sips her tea and gazes past you into the corner of the room. I don't know. Living here, though, we can't afford to antagonize the man. He's about the only link we've got to the outside world, and he's not a bad soul at heart. I suppose that going the same route for 15 years makes a man careless. Get used to the road, think it's yours, taking the corners, not as you should, in an aging vehicle as it is. I guess you have to forgive him. May goes silent for a long moment, then her eyes flick back to you. But you didn't come here to listen to me blather, and you must be hungry. Well, I can rustle you up a bit of stew if you like. How would that be?
Please and thank you.
And you do ask again about her rates, and May names a price so low that you're kind of embarrassed about actually saying anything else. And you just like toss her some whatever
Extra.
Yeah.
Tip.
So $1 is a lot of money back in these times, like most everywhere. So like.
And I would also like to give a thank you and I'm sorry to Silas.
Duly noted, sir, but he probably deserved it.
Even still.
So, the room, being small but comfortable, allows the stew to permeate the air, and it is rich, dark, and hearty. So it does fill you up. After dinner, you have a couple of hours before your usual bedtime. Would you like to talk to May some more? Would you like to walk around outside and get your bearings, stretch your feet? Or would you like to turn in early for the night?
Walk around and get my bearings.
All right. May's brow creases when you announce your intentions to take a stroll. Mind how you go. Amberhead's surrounded by cliffs, and we don't have your fancy street lamps here. Take the lantern and watch your step. Outside, you see what she means. The sky is overcast, and only a few glimmers of moonlight peek through the heavy clouds. Without this sturdy lantern, you would be walking in near total darkness. Plus, it's in the mountains, of course. There would be like you're absolutely in the complete dark. And you're probably not gonna get a good overview of the village tonight. Maze Street is a narrow passage hemmed in by squat, dark dwellings. At the end, however, it does open up. A wide thoroughfare leads off to your right. A crude sign names it as Silbury Street. To the left, a few yards away, your light picks out the crooked posts of a simple fence, and beyond that, the ground drops away into the darkness. You take a couple of steps closer, but you can see absolutely nothing. Air from below cools your face, though. And then, quite suddenly, some instinct makes you look around. Dun dun dun!
Cold chill in my back.
An ink-black figure stands in the road, about 20 yards behind you. It stares at you. You form the sudden impression that it will run at you and throw you over the cliff edge. This is rather unsettling. Seeing that it has been spotted, the figure slips down an alley. Would you like to go return to the safety of the Ledbetter house, or would you like to go and confront the figure? Remember, you're human.
Back to Ledbetter house.
All right. Quite unnerved, you flee back down the narrow street, the lantern swinging in your grasp. You reach the door and pound it urgently. May is surprised to see you so soon. Well, the air up here can tire you out if you're not used to it, she says, assuming that you're just out of breath because of the walk. You glance back once before you close the door. The dark figure is standing against the wall at the end of the street, still staring at you. Where is it? The murk may be deceiving your eyes. You slide the heavy bolt right back into place. May has settled back into her chair. Now she blinks and yawns. I believe I'll turn in. When would you like your breakfast?
6 o'clock.
She kind of agrees with you that that's when she gets up in the morning. As May stands and stretches, you hear a clunk behind you. And as you look over your shoulder, but really all that you catch is a wooden door securely closed. And she tuts. Young lady of the house. She'll been listening to us. Ruth, come here and greet our guest. There's a short pause, then the door creaks open. 2 wide eyes peer at you from the gap between tousled hair and a rough nightgown. What do you say? The eyes blink. Pleased to meet ya. Now get back off the bed. The door snaps shut again. My daughter Ruth, 10 years this summer. She's a delight and a torment all in one. Don't worry, no. She sleeps in with me. She'll not disturb you for the rest of the night. Good night now. And you retire to your room. It's a bit chilly, but you're almost too tired to worry about lighting the fire with all the excitement that just happened. The sheets are clean. The bed soon warms up. The silence outside is strange after living in a town for so long, but you soon drop off. End of night 1. See you next time. Have a great night. Like, subscribe.